Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and envies. Welcome once again to Warui Deshou's Stream of Thought. We are talking about those fine, upstanding citizens of the North. Those helpers
You
of
barely
old
got
ladies.
2 seconds out of the gate talking about that. Like, fine, upstanding citizens. Like, the Vikings were many things, Doc, but they weren't big, believers in charity. Unless charity begins at home with them, in which case,
Of course, they gave plenty to each other. Bruises, scars, sores, STDs.
lasting trauma, the destruction of one's life and identity.
Exactly. They liberated people from their
Mead,
their...
I suppose. Are we gonna go with the mead? Is that it? Like
Yep.
all this awful, heinous shit, but mead.
They got mead.
Oh,
it's important. So I'm the Subtle Doctor, and this is again Stream of Thought. And along for the ride, as per usual, he says he's tired, but I don't believe him. It's Shadon.
I just get kind of manic, but then again, no surprises there if you've listened to me talk even for 5 seconds. And I would say that, I apologize if I look like shit right now, but of course that would elicit all the usual jokes, which is, oh, you made that apology 1 year too late. Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, sweet
I never
God.
do that. I never do that.
That was a great, that was a wonderful, out of work clown. I enjoyed the, he's doing a job interview.
I didn't realize I was doing Joaquin Phoenix impressions, but I guess that's topical.
Oh my God.
Oh, I ain't watching that in stealth bait anytime soon. Fuck that noise.
Oh man, that's a hot fire coming out. Before we continue, I'm gonna close this window because as I look into my screen, I'm just like, it's just this glaring light that is not nice. So give me just a moment to close this window on air.
I really thought some sort of ridiculous disaster was going to befall Doc then, but I guess not.
Okay, I've returned.
I really thought something was going to happen then, like some guy dressed like in a T-Rex suit was just going to grab you from the window and pull you out, and I'd be like, wait, what?
What if a giant spider leg bursts through and it's like, it's Thorkel! He has returned!
He's as big as the guy in the anime. At last,
Exactly.
they now have equivalent scale. Man.
Oh my gosh. Well, I hope all you folks are doing well. We are live on Twitch and on Periscope, and we're here to talk about Vinland Saga, the wonderful, if slightly underrated, I think, historical fiction anime.
Well, do you know what's funny, actually, when you say that, though? I have heard on the grapevine that apparently this anime is not getting the love it deserves. For some reason. I'm going to blame Amazon for that, because I can blame Amazon for many things. And, if they didn't segregate, shows streaming legally along their, piss-poor, user experience that's designed more for picking up bags of, fucking Cheetos and loads of toilet paper, maybe it would be probably more popular. I mean, if I could see this doing gangbusters if it was on Crunchyroll. But no, Jeff Bezos has to shit all over everything as usual. Thanks, Jeff. When are you solving world hunger, you fucking prick? Anyway.
Do you think it also, I don't know what the Japanese domestic numbers happen to be.
Well, before I got off on that long, sideways rant, I thought I'd know.
Okay.
I actually went on Mal earlier, folks, to try and look up a voice actor credit for a new character that appears in episode 12 of Vinland Saga. I wasn't able to find said credit because brand new character, probably minor in the grand scheme of things, but I'm fairly convinced I know another character these voice, which I'll get to when we, of course, talk about in the actual plot. But I did know Mal has a top 5 rated shows thing on the right hand side, and unless I am going blind, in fact, I will actually look this up right this second, just because Also, yeah, my screen is incredibly bright, so I look like I turn into a waxwork every time.
It's okay.
But
You're good.
I've just gone to my list. Top airing anime: Vinland Saga. 210,629 members. Doctor Stone, to be fair though, is number 5, but that has 100,000 more. So it's very well rated from the people who are actually watching it, I guess. Which is a shame though. But yeah, that's the number 1. I would have thought But then again, Demon Slayer did recently conclude airing, so I suppose that maybe that's why it's dropped off that, and now Vinland Saga is shot back up.
Yeah.
Who can say?
Yeah.
Who can say?
That was really popular, wasn't it, Demon Slayer?
Yes. But, you know me, I'm a miserable curmudgeon, and I dropped it around episode 15 because I decided that Zenitsu was just like... Honestly, I didn't realize his spirit was looks like a tiny muley cat, because that's all he is in that show. He's just constantly wandering around going, like, shut up. Do something useful once you mouth-breathing muppet. Anyway, we'll not talk about it. We've got Viking shit to discuss.
We have Viking shit. I was trying to look up, like, Japanese TV ratings or whatever, but, you know, I will rely on our... well-informed audience to educate us on how the show may or may not be doing in Japan.
Japanese TV ratings is a gamble. Like, if you're going to start such a show, you're just going to accidentally sign your own Grand Blue Gacha account before you realize it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! I didn't even realize I bought all these tickets. I would like to know what was airing on this particular slot.
I've somehow signed up for this Fire Emblem game. I'm only trying to do data. No, but yeah, just because I'm curious, how much the like audiences of like hardcore manga readers and anime watchers. I'm always curious how much the overlap is, because there's some like the Shonen Jump adaptations tend to do quite well, but like adapting a very popular seinen series, I'm curious what the like, because it has legions of fans, that manga, both over there and over here. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is like a point that there's not as much crossover as you might think.
I think it also, again, depends more than anything on accessibility for Western audiences. Like, I can't really comment on the Japanese element.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Western is a new... Yeah,
but I would really, really bet that, like... in an alternate timeline where Vinland ends up on Crunchyroll, it would do gangbusters. Mm-hmm. It would do ridiculous numbers. But again, because Amazon wants its finger in every pie possible, even when it's not going to do anything decent with it. But that's why we're here, folks. We want to spread the good word about a good show and convince you to give it a look.
It's true. It's true. Well, before we get on to episode number 12, The Land on the Far Bank. Let us revisit polls from episode number 11, Gamburu Kake.
Indeed. I had these up just a second ago, but then unfortunately I got a bit trigger happy on my internet browser. Just a moment. Right, okay, here we go. Vinland Saga, episode 11, poll 1. Does Valhalla sound like a good deal? 22% said, sign me up, and 78% clearly turn away every person who comes to that door. No thanks, Odin. Again, like, I think I must be like the dark horse here, because every time that we have one of these, I'm like, hey, I think that sounds like a great fucking idea. Everyone's like, God damn it, Shaz, you really are just a classic psychopath, aren't you? Maybe there's a truth to that.
No comment, though.
No comment. Bullshit. All right, episode 11, poll 2. Does the priest see visions, or is he simply a booze hound? Now, there's a problem with this question, in my opinion. Because one can, if they've had, a bit too much to drink, perhaps see some stupid shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just saying, they're not mutually exclusive. Nonetheless, I think most people picked the right answer, which is 22% said visions and 78% said booze hound. And I think that's fair. Although Priest has got some more interesting things to say in this particular episode, which we'll cover in a bit.
Totally.
And, well, now it's time for our obligatory musical number poll, which I think we've been doing like one of every week, haven't we?
For a while,
and there's going to be another one coming. You already know what it is.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if I do.
Don't tell me that didn't cross your mind. Oh, fuck it, whatever. We'll get signed in a minute.
Yeah, okay.
So, episode 11, poll 3. Did Askeladd, in fact, start the fire? And 47% said, it's been always burning. And 18% said, since the world's been. And 35% said, turning. Duh. All correct answers, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no wrong way, to answer this poll. This is the Reese's of polls.
Exactly. But as always, everyone, thank you very much for taking part in the polls. Really appreciate it. There will be more coming along as this episode progresses. Hopefully, I'll try and phrase them better than I have done in the past. I've been a bit ambiguous, like, the Chinese finger trap of, like, Twitter polls.
Exactly. I I enjoy those. The Chinese finger trap on Twitter. What does that mean?
It means you have no idea how to actually answer or escape, to get it right. Like,
both ends are bad.
Yeah.
It cracks me up, man. You're a silly person.
This is why you have me on this podcast, isn't, or either that's just because I've got, a sparkling face. I kid. Anyway, yeah, we'll be doing more polls as time goes on, but thank you very much to everyone who's taken the time to answer those. So, Doc, I think we're now going to talk about, the people on the other side of the bank.
The land on the far bank. In Japanese, I believe it's Taiga no Kuni. This is episode 12. This episode is written, of course, by Ihara and Seko and directed by Yoji Sato. And that name may sound quite familiar to you because we have, talked about Yoji Sato before on this podcast because Yoji Sato has directed episode 2 and episode 5 of Vinland Saga before. So,
well, bugger me sideways. Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought? Sato knows what they're doing. We have talked about the CV before, so I will not bore you all with that again. But I think that this was a good appointment because I feel like this episode was superior to the last couple. It felt like a bit of a return to form. Again, not that the last couple were bad. They were good. There was a lot of good about them, but like it felt like, some of the earlier episodes, which I think is good. Shadon is disagreeing over there, grumbling.
I'm just look. We'll get to my thoughts in a bit. Trust me on this.
Okay, all right.
Although I will say the closing bit of this episode though is incredibly fascinating, just from a direction perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a closing first core of an anime so blatantly through direction say, "Oh look, we're starting season 2 imminently."
Yeah,
I almost thought it was directed by Hideo Kojima. Because it reminded me so much of the transition to Act 2 of Metal Gear Solid 5.
Gear,
it's just
right.
all these fucking, what if I'm a spy?
That's what King Swain is saying as he swirls his wine glass.
Yeah,
I'm a spy.
Just in case you forgot this person was here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
This guy's still relevant. Oh, do you remember? Oh, we'll get to him eventually. We'll get to,
our friendly pipe smoker.
Leaf Erickson. On the wind.
Yes. Yeah, he's still broken up. But we'll talk about Leaf and all his regrets momentarily. All right, so we'll jump in now to Ep 12. Let me pull back up the chat so I can see. Welcome, by the way, Theowolf and Andy.
Indeed.
So, this is a good point by Theowolf. That perhaps also the Western kind of enthusiasm for the show may be down because there's no dub. Since, it's not on Netflix, not on Funimation, it's not being quickly dubbed. So I think especially for a show like this that feels a lot more less like a niche anime property and more aimed at a general audience, or at least an audience more kind of familiar with these Western historical period drama things, that would really help it, because I feel like fewer dyed-in-the-wool anime people are watching and more of the general audience would be watching if they could watch it in English.
To be fair though, I mean, this is set in a time of history that we know, and obviously there's a lot of different accents and stuff being blended into this, as well as lots of different languages. So I'm just imagining the dub of this show when it comes out being completely authentic to the point where we meet the Welsh people in this one and they're speaking full Welsh. And can you imagine just like seeing the subtitles for that?
Like, would they be in like a weird Gaelic font? Is that what you're saying?
I don't even know, but like maybe that's why a dub doesn't exist for this show yet, because it would be ridiculously expensive. They'd have to like get like the Welsh, the Danes, the French, even the Franks, the English. You've got everyone. It's like all of your favorite walking into a bar jokes blended into one.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the dub will be. It could be good, or it could just be like every other show of its type, and everyone will have kind of vaguely British accents, and that'll be it.
No, I really want to believe every single dub actor for this show, when it finally gets dubbed, will be American. It all ends up in Vinland anyway, so it all makes a certain sort of sense.
All the Canadian accents.
Well, like the original X-Men animated series, because they were all Canadian.
I didn't know
the only
that.
characters were like, yeah, they were. They actually did all the voice acting in Canada because they were just being cheap.
Was it Ocean Group? Do you know?
That's as much as I remember.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. But okay, all right. Whales time indeed there, Wolf. They're all Boston. Yeah, that would rule.
Oh, before we begin, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, by the way, that this is not the first time you and I have talked about Wales on this podcast. Do you remember Ghazi's Wing?
Do I remember Garza?
I've never seen a man react in such a way as to look like he's just going through the Windows shutdown procedure. Yes. That's what he literally I remember getting to the end of that. We found out that like Bison Well or whatever those gits were from Wales, or associated Wales. So I think we can definitely confirm that Vinland Saga is now in the Ghazi's Wing cinematic universe.
Man, I forgot about that tidbit. Did you know I recently rewatched Ghazi's Wing?
Why?
Because
are you a fucking idiot? I'm
yes.
sorry to ask it like that.
Because as much as you and I do, my wife loves like terrible shit. And so
okay, fine. You got to spend quality. That was difficult. That was really difficult for me to say. Quality time with your wife watching a big fucking turd.
Yeah, it was
okay. Cool.
It was so bad, such that after the second episode, I was like, oh, I don't know if I have it in me to do it. She's like, no, we have to finish.
There's so many things
man.
I could say right now,
So
but I'm just
good.
going to restrain myself.
All right.
Oh, God.
Okay, are you ready then?
Oh, yes, I am.
To get to summarizing. All right. So, at the beginning of this episode, we have Askeladd giving a letter to an aged-up Shadon.
Yeah, it's me. It's not even funny how much it looks like me just with a goatee rather than the full beard. Man, I hope I look that good when I'm like 75 plus.
He's like, look, and we knew it was you when he said, if you don't have the silver, I'll take alcohol.
It's true.
Yeah,
I can't lie. I'm glad I finally got rendered in anime form. It only took several years, but it's here.
Yep. It's a special day when it occurs for all of us, and it does occur for all of us. So, so yeah, he gives him this letter, he being Askeladd, and says like, okay, I need you to take this to the elders. It's very important. And is this when I guess the old man like eyes his breastplate when Askeladd tells him his lineage and is like, well then, all right, and so then he goes and gives him the letter. He crosses the river, and then we cut to the ear, which is a great nickname. So he is sort of trying to track the approaching armies, and it turns out
the technique he learned from watching Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers. Pace is quickened. The Uruk's March.
That's right.
Literally
Orlando Bloom.
Yeah. I seriously think maybe he's not tracking now. He's tracking the Uruks carrying Merry and Pippin all the way to to Isengard.
That's what's happening. Definitely.
Just say.
Definitely. Was it Count Dooku that was the bad wizard man?
You mean Christopher Lee?
Yeah. Yeah. Was that him?
Rest in peace, Christopher Lee. Yeah, what an incredible actor. Fun facts: he actually had his ancestry traced all the way back to the Holy Roman Emperor Charlemagne.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And when you think of like the voice that and the authority he commanded when he was spoke with that voice, well, are you even surprised?
No, Charlemagne. That's an impressive, like, going back that far. That's really cool. I picture Christopher Lee as multiple Game of Thrones characters when I'm reading the books, just so you know. His face is who I picture for both Tywin Lannister and Stannis Baratheon somehow, because they're both old and fucking hard asses.
The reason Christopher Lee doesn't appear or play any character in Game of Thrones, it'd only be one season long, because we all know he'd win.
Yes, I know, exactly.
Bit of a redundant contest.
I'm sorry, I should say Song of Ice and Fire. The series is the Game of Thrones as a thing is the TV show. It is one of the books in the Song of Ice, and I am reading the book, so I should call it what it is. Anyway.
Let me know how you feel about that when it finally finishes, when you and I are as old as I am in this podcast. This anime.
No, just fucking someone poke Georgie.
He's got enough shit on his plate. I can't really blame him for thinking, the fans are getting too much. Anyway, carry on with let's carry on with Viking stuff.
The ear is like, look, 500 people are coming. They're getting closer. What are we going to do? People are getting mad. Askeladd is like, we're fine. Don't worry. I've sent off a letter for reinforcements. We're just going to march till they arrive. People are like, huh? Askeladd says no more. So Bjorn, in the middle of the night, confronts him. He sits down and gives his best, Uncle Bjorn knows that you did a bad thing, hard look. It's like, look, Askeladd, it's time to come clean. It's time to fucking explain yourself. People are worried. Askeladd is like, let them worry. They'll march faster. So Bjorn is like, look, you've been behaving weird since we saw the prince's face, right? And, Askeladd kind of gives... What's the word I'm looking for? It's not a vague... Maybe it is a bit vague, but the answer he gives is strange, right?
Circuitous, I'd say.
Yes, circuitous, thank you. He talks about, I've been looking at people's faces for years, it's been part of my job, and I look at Canut's face and I don't. I
secretly draw portraits in my spare time.
Yes, exactly. I look at Canut's face and I don't see the face of a king, and so I guess he's worried about the future of his people here.
I stroke my beard on that, but carry on.
Yeah, his face doesn't look like a king. Maybe he's thinking he won't rule well or he'll fall, etc., etc. Anyway, that is kind of all he gives Bjorn, and at that point he wakes up his men and says, let's march. And they march into two dudes in the fog. A couple of mysterious hooded figures are waiting. Not the first time that a couple of mysterious hooded figures will appear on the road in the episode. But so they come up to these guys that are on this again, one of the sort of things that looks like it used to be the foundation of some Roman building.
I thought it was a level from Shadow of the Colossus myself.
I know. It does look like this whole show looks like that at times. But so Askeladd kneels before one of these guys and says, "Thank you for coming yourself, Commander. It's been a while." Turns out it's the Welsh. They have, come to Askeladd's aid. That is who he was sending for. Askeladd is a Welsh person, I guess. Did it say is this his country of birth? I can't remember now for some reason.
No, I think he's Danish, much the same as the others are.
Yeah, how is he?
They mentioned that previously.
How has he been ingratiated to the Welsh then?
Probably the same way he ingratiates himself to Ragnar right now, by helping him in a jam by doing mercenary work.
Fair, very fair. So, speaking of Ragnar, he's overjoyed. He's like, "Wow, this is great. These guys helped us cross the river. They can lend us the ships. We'll go back to Gainsborough. Yeah. It'll be awesome.
If I may intervene, by the way, just to point something out, bear in mind that they fought in the Battle of London. And then Thorkel grabbed the prince from literally downriver, and they have then since gone all the way across the breadth of the country to get to Wales. That ain't no short, jaunt down the way. That ain't no trips to the corner shop, so to speak. Although somehow I suspect Askeladd still did it quicker than if he took a Virgin train route from London to Wales. So there we go. Modern British transport joke.
Heyo.
Oh. But yeah, that's how far they've marched and how quickly they've done it as well to help just sell the dire straits they're in.
Mm-hmm. So they are in dire straits, and Ragnar wants to sail rather than walk, but turns out no. Askeladd will not ask the Welsh to spare the amount of ships it will take to cross them, because he doesn't want to, how do you call it? He's like you said, he's having a debt repaid here by something he did for them, but he doesn't want to kind of over ask them because they're resource taxed.
He also notes that Wales at this point is not a unified country. It's a number of smaller kingdoms, of which this gentleman is the general of one of them. So they have very few boats as it is anyway for the entire micronation that they have right now.
Yeah.
So they're not probably going to part with them for Askeladd regardless, just because, that's all they got.
Can you pronounce the micronation?
I can't. I can't because I haven't smoked 30 cigarettes a day my whole life.
Yeah, exactly. That is a lot of consonants shut together at the end of that word. That's all I'm going to say about
it's
that.
It's a lot of phlegm.
It's a lot of phlegm. But anyway, so
that's all of our Welsh audience now leaving us.
Aw, we love Gareth.
But then again,
we love Gareth Bale.
And then again, I called them all fools for their country's involvement in Ghazi's wing. So I suppose that bridge has been burned already.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. That's exactly it. So Askeladd tells him, right, look, we're gonna have to cross by land, and you're gonna have to like it. We can't rely on this tiny group of people for these ships. But the good commander here is going to escort us. He'll lead us.
Oh, man, this guy's name. I have such a juvenile mind, folks. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I try to pretend to be smart, and I try to pretend to be profound and intellectual. And then there are just times I giggle like I'm a 15-year-old idiot back in high school again. Because this gentleman's name is Gratianus. In other words, Mr. Freebutt. I'm so sorry. I seriously just couldn't. Gratianus. On a more serious note, if I could bring myself around to talk about it.
Jeez.
I know. But on a more serious note, Gratianus, I'm not going to call him Freebo again. I promise. I make that promise throughout the entire podcast. He is voiced. I am 99% certain he's voiced by the guy who voices the trainer dude, whose name I can't remember right now, from Megalobox. I am pretty confident that's him. Now, the reason I'm not 100% confident is because this Gratianus has not currently got a character entry on Mal for Vinland Saga, so I don't know where I'd be able to find it. Nor anywhere.
I looked at vinlandsaga.jp. I looked at
that's
Anime
Nambu,
News
yes.
Network.
Thank you, Blinkaji. That's it, Nambu. I'm 99% certain it's Nambu's voice actor.
You're probably
who I did
right.
look at Mal before, but the name's eluded me. Because I'd recognise that, deep tone anyway.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, look him up while I'm talking. I want to know who it is.
I will, actually.
So yeah, they're going to have to cross by land to Gainsborough, and it will be dangerous, but they'll have Gratianus and co escort them. And to ease Ragnar's troubled mind about the safety of the prince, Askeladd assigns Thorfinn as his personal guard. And Thorfinn, of course, makes a great impression on Canute by giving him the meanest look I've ever seen in my life. Just what the fuck? And Canute retreats behind Ragnar, and Thorfinn's like, look, don't make this decision for me. If I do this bullshit, will you duel me?
You've also just forgotten to mention the moment in which completely goes without comment from anyone, which is Canute finally fucking speaks. It was a bird.
Right. What is the hawk, right?
It's a bird.
It's a hawk. Get him for me, Ragnar. And Ragnar's like, we're talking about big boy stuff. There's no time for this. Were you able to find Nanbu's name?
I did. The voice actor is Shiro Saito.
Oh, that sounds so familiar.
I was just going through the list here. He played Tamatsu in Suritama, if you know that.
Yeah, kind of.
There's not a long list here, actually, to be quite honest.
Saito Shiro?
Yes.
Okay. What a handsome old man. Let's see. Monster, Hikaije, Hellgirl, Gintama, Black Lagoon, Flag, Toriko, Sword Art Online. Hell yeah.
Unfortunately for him.
Sorbet in Dragon Ball Super. I don't even remember who Sorbet is. And Megalobox, the aforementioned. Shoot. Well, was also additional voices in Studio Ghibli's Ponyo. There you go. I wanted to know because
I remember that. That was my favorite character from Studio Ghibli's Ponyo. Additional voices.
I know.
What a great character that was. Unforgettable.
At this year's Anime Boston, line up to meet your favorite additional voices. I can see it now. So let's see, where was I? Yes. So Thorfinn says, if you duel me, I'll do it. Askeladd agrees.
God, I'll do it. All right, fine. It's like the 10th time this has happened.
I know. And so Gratianus comes and looks at Thorfinn and is like, yo, I think he might think that... I don't know if he thinks he's the prince, but he's basically like, you have a good look about you. You look strong, but there's an air of danger about you, a menace, though. And someone is like, that's Thorfinn. That's Askeladd's man. This here's the prince. And Gratianus just looks at him for a minute and then looks away like, oh, fuck. We're fucked. This is the prince. So, he basically at that point is like, look, Askeladd, I'm not doing any of this as a favor to you. I'm doing it to get a non-aggression pact for my country out of Denmark when you all rule England. You had a pledge you won't fuck with us. It's a political maneuvering, and so he asks the prince, right? He asks Canute, and then Canute tells Ragnar to do something. Says, Ragnar, take care of it. Ragnar's like, I'll take care of it. And then Gratianus goes, I didn't ask you, I asked the prince. And then everyone's really quiet. And it's like the most awkward negotiation I've ever seen. It was a really awkward scene. And so eventually, thankfully, Gratianus breaks the silence and says, okay, never mind. We'll come back to this later, okay? You don't need to stand here staring at each other. So the men march on towards Gainsborough. And as they're marching on, we get a shot of the priest in the wagon, boozing it up. And he's listening.
He spills a bit, by the way. It's green colored, and I thought, is that Mountain Dew?
That's exactly. They just think it's booze. That was proto booze, Mountain Dew, gamer fuel. So, he's overhearing. He's listening to Askeladd's men talk about kind of, I guess, what they want to do once they rule England, and we get this hilarious shot of all the concubines from around the world that they think they'll be treated to via the king, and one of them starts talking about all the money. And then the priest is basically like, money. They ask him, like, what is the palace like? Because you've been, right? And he's like, well, didn't really have anything that I'm interested in. Nothing of value to me. And they're like, what are you talking about? Do you not like women in gold? And he's like, well, they're nothing compared to what I am actually seeking. And they get curious. This is, what is that? Love.
And of course, the audience, the guy, goes, "What is love, baby? Don't hurt me."
Yep, that definitely happened.
Don't hurt me. Did I not tell you that there was another musical reference?
Okay. That one did actually not cross my mind. To be fair.
Oh God.
It's one I appreciate though. I'm trying to read my own handwriting here. So yeah, he, most of them are like pretty nonplussed. They're like, love gives silver its value. Silver's the value of silver. And they're like, who the fuck cares about this guy? But you have one guy. It's like, I'm actually pretty interested. Keep talking, priest. And so the proselytization begins. The next thing I have in my line, you'll have in my notes is this one line. You'll have to remind me of like the exact context. I think this is Askeladd talking with Gratianus about the future non-aggression pact and kind of the fitness of Canute to rule. Askeladd says, the more you fall for a man, the less things go how you want. And I remember what?
There was a flashback to Thors, though, remember?
Yeah, but what?
If I had to guess, everyone thought Thors was the shit. Like, Floki thought he was like so dangerous he was willing to pay Askeladd to have him off himself. And Askeladd actually succeeded, surprisingly enough. And all, of course, as we saw in the earlier episodes, all of like the villagers who knew Thors like revered him as like this amazing warrior. Even Thorfinn still like is holding on to that sentiment. So I think the intent that like as I say like that all of that like legend that's been built up around people like Thors is all for nothing compared to the harsh reality that they often face.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Like, don't put your faith so much in a sort of great person.
People are only men. Like men are only men. They're not like unless you're Thorkel because he's like a giant.
Yeah.
But he's like the exception.
Well, that kind of, I guess that makes sense then because then he brings up the legend of Artorias, and I don't know if he's doing that because then it cuts to like this sword and a rock and things like that make me think like he's not saying like remember the legend of Artorias, that was another time we fucked up by putting faith in people. I think they think it's true.
Well, to be fair, that's the point which someone pipes up and says, "Hey, I thought Artorias was a girl." Arthur? King Arthur? Or am I getting mixed up?
Oh,
wasn't King Arthur later? I'm getting mixed up, aren't I?
I don't know. I only
Sword in the Stone?
I only know about sure, no, yeah. I didn't realize that could have been King Arthur. I only know Artorias of the Abyss from Dark Souls. I didn't know if Artorias is
so between us we're butchering our references to make both Fate jokes and Dark Souls jokes.
Yeah. It's he's the best character from Dark Souls.
The only thing prepared to die here on this podcast is the comedy.
Heyo. So, Google if Artorias is in fact King Arthur. Because if it is, then the Sword in the Stone, yes. And then Canute will pull it out because Canute is really a girl, but then they'll be crowned King of England. Anyway, that won't happen. So while they are talking about what the fuck did I write? Oh yeah, okay. God, my writing is so fucking terrible. So there's a trap, right?
Because of course there is.
Of course there is. So Gratianus and co meet some messengers, ambassadors from another like little micro nation that starts with a B. That's all I remember about it. And Askeladd kind of doesn't like the look of them. And the ear, of course, says, actually, this is an ambush. And also, Thorkel is trying to cross the river to fuck him up. So they're kind of surrounded. They're beset on two sides here.
I am genuinely surprised, by the way, that Thorkel simply doesn't like, just part the sea himself with just how beefy he is.
Hello, Emily. Hopefully Twitch will work for you. I'm also surprised that Thorkel doesn't. But you know what? This is realistic drama, Shadon. Don't come in here with your your nonsense.
Realistic drama, with a character who decided that he would invent the modern day game of Battleship.
Exactly.
I mean, what next? Is he going to catch Askeladd, put him in the barrel, and invent pop-up pirate?
But who knows? I'd love to see that.
I would too, actually.
That would be great.
Try to do pop-up pirate.
So, what else happens after that point when they're it looks like the guys from it looks like we may have lost Shadon. Oh, Shadon's back. Yep.
I was always here.
Yeah.
You cannot get rid of me.
Okay, let me restart the call and see if we can get a better feed, Shadon. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Okay. All right. I think we're good to go once again. Sorry about that, everybody. It was Emily that did it. She's cursed us with her technical difficulties.
Yeah, Thorkel bit me. Yeah. He came back for vengeance.
Seriously, the camera went like gray, and there was like a green like waveform looking line about 4/5 to the top of your screen all the way across. It was very strange. Anyways, those messenger guys, it turns out, are not friendly. They are trapping our heroes, quote unquote heroes, and they are going to have to fight. And someone shoots an arrow, and as that arrow flies, we get that montage that you spoke of, that like season ending. Where as the arrow is flying, it cuts to like the king, who has a bunch of knights kneeling before him. I guess this was King Swain.
He hasn't moved from that throne for 5 weeks.
Was it King Swain?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. But then, of course, it cuts to Thorkel, who he knows what happened because he grabbed a leaf out of the air. I don't know why. He just grabbed a leaf out of the air, so he understands it.
The ending of an age.
So he knows.
I'm only half joking, by the way. That's literally what it is.
Yeah. But he starts laughing like an idiot. And
because he's Thorkel.
Yeah. So then he cuts to it cuts to Leif, who
Leif Erikson. He's back, baby.
Now bald on top, because some years have passed, and he sees a young slave child who reminds him of Thorfinn, and he starts to cry because he still feels guilty about, tucking tail and run and leaving him behind all those years ago. And then it zooms out and zooms back into the arrow as it flies into the battle. And
yep, so, Askeladd's horse gets fucking
That's
nailed.
right. Yeah.
But Askeladd himself somehow no one can hit him. Like, they can all land perfect shots on the horse. Poor horse, by the way. But they can't hit Askeladd himself.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, guys. Come on.
Askeladd's horse does get fucked up. And then he hops off. And here we go. The battle commences. And that's the episode. And we are...
To be continued.
We are halfway through Vinland Saga.
Oh boy.
So, talking points.
Oh boy.
Kick it off, my friend.
Well, I'm actually going to, break with the normal flow of things here, and I'm actually going to answer a Patreon question first. So I feel like this is the most substantive thing about this episode. So I want to give a quick shout out to my main man, Blinkaji, for firing another good one in here, which is, what is this love that the monk is on about, and why is it his booze? So, well, I mean, I don't know what Viking booze must have tasted like. Probably somewhere like fermented arse, basically. So I don't know why he's in love with the booze of that era. Well, it tastes like shit, to be honest. But let's talk about the idea of love as he presents it, and also why that's relevant to the wider events of the show. So we spoke previously about cycles, the end of the world, and all that kind of thing, and what comes afterwards. So for people like Forkel, his idea of what comes after his glorious death on the battlefield, which he wants, because Lord knows you can't imagine Forkel retiring and becoming a fucking lumberjack. For him, it's Valhalla. The thing we mentioned in our poll, the place of eternal battle, feasting, wine, and women. All the good stuff that people like Forkel love. But for people with more earthly concerns, ironic coming from a priest, what awaits them after they finish the war? They all know they're marching on to what could be their deaths, or like probably the last big battle they'll get. Asgard has said as much previously. And so for the priest, like him saying about love, like, to me reads as I'd like someone to go home to. I'd like someone to, live with, to nurture, to hold close to me, to, show affection for, that kind of thing. And I think that ties into the image as well we saw of all the women, which that is a complete fantasy on the part of the men. But there's something about that kind of comfort sucker that, like, I think ties in with that whole wider idea of finding that someone and settling down, because all these guys here in Asgard's army, like, the age of war is coming to an end, as they say. And so I think that, for the priest guy, that's why he says he wants that more than the silver and all that, because also silver, you spend it, it's gone, love can be around forever, that kind of thing. But also don't forget the dude at the end who says, like, hey, can you tell me more, priest man? Can you tell me more, like, about what love is? Because he wants to know what love is. He wants him to show him.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
Sorry, I had to do that. But that's why he's asking, I think, because that guy there, this random nobody, himself realizes that the time in which they, must take up arms is coming to an end. And what do you do when you finally lay down said arms? So I think that's why he's talking about that, because he recognizes for the men and for himself that, they need to, change as people.
Okay. So for me, I took it as a little bit beyond that. And I don't know if the priest himself is thinking about the love of a woman, because if he is a Catholic priest, then he cannot marry.
He's drinking giant bottles of booze. Like, I think that his religion is more of a, polite suggestion than a strict adherence.
Well, that is true, except, like, no one can... You can drink booze by yourself. You have to have, like, to be married or whatever, you have to... you have to have someone to marry you, and, that's...
well, maybe that ties back to what he said, which is that you can buy booze quite easily, but you can't buy love and affection.
So he's saying this. I think there's an interesting line where he says, love is the thing that gives silver its value. And it made me think of something that Aristotle said, which is that, money, because I think people were asking him if money was people were asking him what the good life was. And they have a lot of, like, in a very sort of Socratic style, like, they suggest a thing and they talk about whether it is or it isn't and then reject it. And I think money comes up, and he's like, money is the means to the good life. You need money to be able to get what makes life worth living, but money itself isn't that. And, he said, like, he didn't refute the idea that the king had all these different concubines from all around the world. And when he said, there's nothing of value for me in the palace. And they said, what's the matter? You don't like women? And he says, it's nothing compared to what I'm seeking. I don't think he's looking for love in the terms of, like, human to human affection.
Okay.
I think he's looking for a sort of transcendent, something spiritual, that kind of experience. He's looking for that sort of love, like love of to God and from God, I think, is what the kind of thing he's thinking. And is he an imperfect messenger? Like, absolutely. There is no perfect messenger for those kinds of things, but he's a flagrantly imperfect one. And I actually think that makes the scene all the more, like, better, because like it traditionally, like in so many stories, like the person who is kind of the one to communicate spiritual truth or what they think is spiritual truth, right? The spiritual type person is often like a foolish person or someone that you otherwise might not take seriously. But it's like, is it really like, they might have the answer, I guess is the idea. Like the answer might lie like not with like what other people think is valuable, what everyone else in the world thinks is valuable. There might be some other kind of way to it.
I think I agree with you there, because often I think in a lot of fiction, religious figures like him, they tend to hover in my own experience and just take that for what it is and not like, how things really are in a lot of fiction. But they tend to hover between two extremes, one of which is absolute zealous belief in God, but by God are they wrong? Or on the opposite side, speaking like from true, like divinity is true, like, the God is real and all that. I mean, like, say, for example, Castlevania, the show by Warren Ellis, the church, like, the priests and all that, they're definitely in the fucking wrong on that one. Or even the church in Berserk, all that kind of thing. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that having a guy like that kind of sits in the middle where he's clearly, he's not following all the rules, but his heart's in the right place is a bit more nuanced than we might otherwise come to expect.
Yeah.
Even admittedly, if all he really is serving right now is just as a punchline for, well, the punch that he drinks.
and he had that one guy like that, piqued, his interest was piqued. I mean, it's funny that like none of the Viking warriors knew about love. He said Idis, and they were like, love? Like, what is that? Right? I mean, their culture like just doesn't really think about it seems to me their way of life isn't really concerned with like meaning the way that like you and me might be. Like they really are just kind of functioning to satisfy like their kind of appetite for battle, their appetite for wine, their appetite for sex. And it's like that's kind of it. And
so moment by moment kind of stuff, like very sensory, very hedonistic.
Yeah, without necessarily being self-aware about it, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. And, maybe there's a guy among them who is like, has been thinking about like the things that you were saying, like what about after the war? What am I going to do? Like what will make me happy? Why do I keep doing this? What's my life going to be about, after I'm done here? And all those kinds of
Asgard certainly has his eye on that.
Yes, he does.
He's got a long-term goal in mind for when he's gone. At least there's some description.
Something. Exactly what is it? I'm very curious.
Well, I think whatever he ultimately wants to do, I think he wants to go out on his terms. I mean, he's lived a life of freedom and admittedly on the, exploitation and mass murder and pillaging of innocent people.
Yes.
But a life of freedom nonetheless. So do you really see him willingly, like, being taken to the stocks, or put in chains after the fact? I don't buy it. I think he'd rather go out fighting. So I think in some way, maybe that's why he's leading them on this ridiculous mission here, because on the one hand, if they get it right, it guarantees their, clemency towards them. On the other, if they get it wrong, they all die, but they're not being taken back, to prison or whatever, to live the rest of their days, like, I don't know, in those cages that pirates were put in, like, and hang out at sea or whatever. I don't know what they're called. So yeah,
right, yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, where they get pecked by crows and stuff. Yeah,
yes. Yeah, no, it's true. I'm very curious to see what his vision is, what he wants for himself. If it's not, I mean, if he just wants to die fighting, die by the hand of Thorfinn or something else, I don't know. But okay, we'll throw it back over to you.
All right, so let's talk about differences between manga and anime when it comes to pivotal moments. Now, this admittedly is a place I shouldn't be I shouldn't be exploring, or a thing I shouldn't be talking about, for one simple reason: I've not read Vinland Saga, the manga. But because it
How
is a
dare you.
manga, because it is a manga, there are certain things I know to be true about it, even though I've not read it, such as the fact that unless it's one of those miraculous talking books, none of it is voiced. All the voices and stuff pop up in your own head.
Mhm.
So here's the thing, right? I'm not going to lie. I put up that poll before about Canute speaking. When Canute spoke for the first time, I was like, oh, that's it. Really? All that build up and no one comments on it. We get nothing. He just says, oh, there's a bird.
He's also
Okay.
walking around de-helmed in this episode. Like it's no big deal.
There is a reason behind that, and I'll get to that in a moment. But like, that's it for 2 solid episodes. We've watched this kid like be completely silent, and all he has to say in the end is about Hawk. And maybe that again would be a point, but like, it's given so little like notice in the show in general. Like,
Mhm.
it just comes out of nowhere and departs just as quickly. And that really disappointed me because I'm not even talking like in terms of what Canute says that's the problem. I'm talking about how little weight it's been given after all of this build up where he hasn't said a damn thing. Really kind of got on my nerves, I'm not going to lie. But there's a reason I bring that up in relation to the manga, because the manga, of course, is also sequential art. It's not like, a full 22 minutes of like individual things like you flick like one of those classic books. It isn't that. So I get the feeling that this is a scene that is much more impactful, even if you just literally have the same words by merit of just being in the manga. Like, I can imagine, although I haven't actually read it, like you flip over a page and suddenly Canute speaks. Oh, holy shit! That's a big deal because it's framed as such in the manga. But in the anime, it's just, it happens. And no one comments on it. No one says anything. No?
Yeah. Yeah, I like, Emily in chat said I was expecting him to suddenly be a badass, and I don't know if I was expecting that, but I was expecting a larger personality. I think I was expecting some kind of spark, something dynamic, something that's like, oh, he appears this way, but really he is this way. And that may still come to be, but like as time goes by, as episodes go on, I'm slowly starting to think, well, I mean, what you see, I guess, is what you get with Canute. And maybe he is just a small, little, weak man, and that's it. And that will be like disappointing, but also
that can narratively be the point, though. That can entirely be the point. Nothing wrong with that if it serves that function in terms of the story. But as I say, what bothers me is just that it isn't treated by the show for its framing or for its reactions made of the characters or anything else as if though it's a big deal that he suddenly speaks. It just happens and it goes by without comment. Isn't framed as a big moment, isn't framed as like a shock. And as I say, even if you just literally then had Ascalad say, oh, well, I marked how he looks and now he sounds like he looks, funnily enough, that kind of thing. That'd be something.
Yeah.
But we have 2 episodes where they make big weighty deals of like ending shots like the entire episode, looking at Canute where he doesn't say anything. Twice in a row, if I'm not mistaken. And
yeah. Do you think it was like a Berserk shout out that he's like sees a hawk in the air and it's like this pretty wafy boy who's a night king sees a hawk in the air? With the helmet on, he doesn't not resemble
Ragnar,
Griffith.
I found this. What do you reckon this is? My God, it's a red Kinder Egg.
It's got eyeballs all over it. That's
man,
weird.
what's the secret prize inside?
This looks kind of Lovecraftian. Let's keep it.
So yeah, I bring that up only because I'm going to have to again rely on people who've read the manga to comment on what that scene was like there. But as presented in the show, you don't spend all that time making a big deal out of him saying nothing, only to then have so little of a deal made about him finally speaking. And again, I'm not talking about character reaction, I'm talking about the show's framing.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it was, it definitely caught me off guard, the fact that it wasn't a thing, and I will be curious to see. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm hopeful that I'll be surprised by his character. I mean, if and you like you're saying narratively, the point might very well be like he is just a pretty weak, potential ruler, and that's all there is to it. But like, oh man, I was hoping for more.
Yeah. In fact, Blinkaji, once again being the proper bro that he is, has actually just posted that particular page in our chat on Discord.
Okay.
I'm just looking at here. And yeah, like, it literally just happens in the panel. It says it, and then it's just gone, like, Falcon. Oh, cool. So, I don't know. I mean, obviously Canute is in this show for a reason, or at least I'd like to believe so.
Yeah.
And maybe, again, all this build-up is in the aid of something shocking, but maybe in turn this, like, nonchalance that the show takes towards him speaking isn't of itself a build-up to something.
Thorfinn's future boyfriend.
That's a different show. We've already covered that.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, they're not forming a band together.
One of them have like a harp, and the other will have a lyre or a flute. It'd be great.
Thorfinn's just got the triangle. Because he gets shat on so much, of course he'd have the triangle. Yeah. But yeah, like I think this ties into a wider issue I have at the moment where I'm not hating the show, but I am getting...
You turned on it. I knew it.
I'm getting impatient. I'm getting impatient with the pace of which things are going, because here's the thing, right? This is going to lead on to another topic I've got now, right? So the show has made a big, weighty emphasis on, the end of the war and all that, and all this sort of stuff, that we've got to find a new place for ourselves in this post-war world. Canute's got to play a role, Ragnar's got to play a role, blah, 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 blah. But there's not nearly enough character stuff from anyone apart from Askeladd to really help give that the meat it needs to justify the slower pace. Askeladd's got the big ideas on this, and even then they're still kind of veiled. Like Bjorn himself says, "Hey, what have you got in mind?" And he's like, "Fuck you, get back to your mushrooms. I've got my plan. How about you follow my orders, dickhead?" But we don't get much more than that. Okay, we've had Thorfinn, having occasional moments of introspection about Vinland. Yeah. But again, his eye is on the prize of killing Askeladd as in this episode, and I'm already bored to death of him asking after it now. Can we move on from that?
And all the stuff with the all the Christianity stuff, it feels like that it's not actually what the show's about. It feels like historical flavoring. So when they kind of delve into it, it seems like, okay, we're getting some depth, but it's not. I want more meat on other stuff. Yeah,
exactly. I want I get all the characters for all these things going here, but there's just so much moving between places. We've got the battles going on. I feel like we're repeating the same beats over and over of ambush, battle, ambush, battle, ambush, battle, march, blah 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 blah.
So it's the Fellowship of the Ring, the movie again. Because that really, to me, that's my biggest criticism of that movie was it was just that.
Yeah. I just feel like the status quo has held too long now. And it really feels like we should be moving on to something else. I'm not saying, and maybe that'll happen in the opening part of this next chapter here, but by God, it's like this show's starting to spin its wheels a little bit. It's getting a bit frustrating for me.
Yeah. Man, and fuck. As I was watching the show, though, I really liked what was happening. I felt like, okay, my plot outline, my summary outline is fuller, because it's there's political dealings, there's, the ear is hanging out and doing stuff, and Thorkel showing up, but it's it's just kind of stuff is just sort of happening, but it's all... I don't know. It's prelude to something,
I mean, the thing is, for all that he is the main character, Thorfinn is also taking an annoying amount of a backseat to other things that are going on.
Yeah.
Which I feel is a problem.
I know. We need more Thorfinn. We really fucking do.
I mean, for all that this is meant to be a drama about him, trying to seek his revenge when really he should be seeking something else. The amount of time that is spent on that feels very sparse, but at the same time, on top of that, it's also very repetitive. Like, we've now had 6 episodes approximately of him being his age now, trying to get his, one up on Askeladd, trying to finally finish him off.
Mm-hmm.
And when the characters treat it as routine, like Askeladd and Thorfinn doing this episode,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you might want to, move on from it as a writer. And okay, maybe there's a point in that again, the erasive point, that because it has become such routine that, he's indoctrinated into it, ties back into the whole slavery thing. And I'm not talking like in literal sense. You can make all those arguments all you want, and I will agree with you that you can read them that way. But I'm not really that interested in having another 12 episodes of it, if I'm being quite real.
Are you suggesting we drop it?
No, not at all. Not at all. But I'm just saying, that I'm only going to end up, I'm just going to get bored of it. It's not going to make me hate the show by far. It's not actually endorsing slavery.
Please,
come on, it's not
something
that.
happen. Please. Man.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what they're doing with Canute, by the way. They clearly want to have Canute and Thorfinn be, as counterpoints to each other. How they are very much the same. People are trapped by roles thrust upon them by other people before they had a genuine choice in their lives,
right?
And obviously then you get the mirror images, Thorfinn has been hardened by battle, by vengeance, by fury, and then you've got Canute, who's been sheltered, who lives a Christian life, very soft, very timid. They're they're the same, but they're the same, but they're contrasted. And that's great and all, introducing Canute to do this. I get it, but I already got it. Can we advance Thorfinn's story a bit more?
Yeah. Yeah. You can kind of see foreshadowed how maybe Canute will soften him. I thought that the young lady would, who has been left behind. And that he will.
Oh, remember we had high hopes for her coming along.
Episode 8. You never did. You didn't. That was my own. I'll take the bullet. I'll take the L for that one.
But to be fair, though, I don't like to be rewarded for being cynical.
And maybe she'll come back into it. Can we just get an Ilva episode? That'd be fun. Can we just get a whole episode devoted to Ilva, fishing and rejecting men that come on to her and I don't know, fighting a bear.
I was about to suggest the same thing. I literally was about to say Ilva punches a bear.
Yes,
I would be totally okay with it.
I will take it.
By the way, I did also say before about the idea of Canute being unmasked. So that is meant to be symbolic of the perception of him changing, from he's the prince to he's still the prince, but our expectations have been dramatically lowered just by how he looks and how he acts. The mask is meant to make him look more threatening. I mean, I'll be honest. When I first watched the OP in which Canute is first featured, I thought, holy crap, this person clearly contrasts all of the other people we've seen, big beefy dudes. This one looks more agile and quite possibly even cunning, but also wears that mask to be, tie at the face. Seems very formal, rigid. It's a clear visual contrast that puts him in a different league.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that Canute turned out just simply be, well, I don't know, quiet, reserved, meek even. That's not a problem.
A damp squib.
A damp squib, yeah. That's not inherently a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can we just...
I'd like to just... we've been speculating on him for a month. I want, stuff with him, too. Because we're okay, he's... Oh, yeah, he looks like he's not aloof, but, just, apart from everyone. And he looks... the mask, there's a lot of mystery. And now he's been unmasked, and he's just, kind of whatever. Damp squib.
Yeah.
King squib.
I mean, I'll say this as well. The end of the episode, when I mentioned that 30-second montage, I get what they're going for there, but it also feels like a bit of an admission on the show's part that this stuff is all still relevant. We will get back to this eventually, promise. If you need to cut away to reminding us that Leaf is still around or that Swerin is just sat on his fucking throne as always, that to me seems like a slight admission on your part that what you're actually delivering in the show proper is perhaps not as interesting as otherwise you wish it was. Because you're dangling these things in front of our face.
I was glad they did it though, because what it told me as a viewer was like there's still more to come from these others. Like they're not done, especially Leaf. Like the pace it's going now. I mean, I just kind of thought, well, we're done with everybody in the winter. That from the village.
I mean, I'd have had Leaf Marks as Never Queen back because if he does actually catch up with Thorfinn, the thing is, like, the role Leaf would serve as someone from Thorfinn's past or someone who knows of his family history has already been fulfilled in the show by Thorkel.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not sure what... I mean, obviously he knows Thorfinn much more than Thorkel does. Thorkel only knows his father. But that's the thing that defines Thorfinn's character. So to me, like, I don't know how much more mileage you'd get out of bringing Leaf back into this, other than just to get some pathos of like, oh my god, what's happened to you? What awful trauma have you been through?
Well, it could be some kind of decision Thorfinn has to make. You know what I mean? Like I thought that he might want to, you know, at the time it happened, I thought that he might harbor some anger toward Leaf, and you know, him confronting him again when he's older and able to kill him easily, but choosing not to could be kind of a pivotal thing. But I don't know how I'm not sure that that's like going to be the case. It doesn't feel like they have set it up to be that way. So I don't know. I mean, maybe he'll have some sort of order to like burn a village or something and Leaf, or burn a ship that Leaf is on, and he has to make a decision. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Maybe he just gets stoned. Who the fuck knows?
just talks about the old days over a pipe.
So I had a bit of a ramble there, but I think I've just like... I'm not going to lie here, folks, right? I am impatient by nature when it comes to stories like this. I'm not really that fond of slow burners. There are times when I'll be okay with them, but there are others when I just... Yeah. I mean, I've had some grievances even about Land of the Lustrous in manga form, just because it feels like it's taking forever to actually get to, like, you know, some of the more important... you stroke your beard there, I see that. But that's just my nature, so don't take it from me that what I'm saying is necessarily gospel. Like, if you're enjoying the pace of the show, good. I'm glad for you. But for me personally, like, I get it. I get the themes. They've been set up. They keep getting reinforced and repeated. The same things keep getting reinforced and repeated over and over. Maybe that in itself is a motif of cycles and repetition. Who can say? How about someone fucking kill Askeladd already so we can get some more development for Thorfinn? You know, because, I mean, even Askeladd has recognized he's now redundant in this story. So why is it taking more than 3 episodes for him to fucking die? All right, I'm done. Over to you.
Well, here's an unrelated question. The old man, you know, your future self in anime form.
Oh yes, me.
was eyeing the breastplate that Askeladd wore when he said he was the son of Lydia. You know, very like purposefully eyeing it. What do we think this means? You know, is there any point in talking about it? Because it's going to be kind of idle speculation, I guess. But hey, I mean, at least it is. We've been shown like it's an item of significance.
Well, you know, I think he was just admiring how well sculpted it was. Nah, I kid.
Like, what, really? No way.
I kid. Well, here's the thing, right? Like, I think that maybe we'll learn something more about Askeladd, and maybe that possibly is a family heirloom, that plate of armor.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, after all, why mentions to the river dude, like, oh, it's Lydia, or whatever, you know? Like, he seemed very chummy with him.
Yeah, who are you? Mysterious character. It's me, Merlin. I'm just fishing.
Nah, I'm not nearly bishy enough if fake granddaughter's taught me anything.
True. That's true. We know Merlin is a hot lady, not a.
No, Merlin is a hot, like, bishy guy apparently in fake granddaughter.
That's a shock. That's a surprising.
I know. I'm genuinely as stunned as you are.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, you know, I'm surprised that fake granddaughter hasn't been turned into some sort of energy drink yet, given how thirsty its fans are.
So my only other talking point that I have is it's more larger in scope than just this episode. So if you have anything else on just this episode, hit me with it.
I not this episode specifically, but I suppose I can talk about a wider thing.
Yeah, that's
internally.
Okay, so I thought it would be good if we take stock of the show since it's halfway over.
Okay.
Think about like where we are. I mean, we talked about this already a bit, but like maybe focus on the whole thing and not just like right now, like what we think it's about, what's it saying, are we happy with it? You know, we've touched on the last point a little bit, but maybe just
I've already spoken a lot, so I'll pass it.
What is it saying? Well, I think like it is, of course, an anti-war show. So far, I think it's saying that war is something that can, like, if it's part of your culture, it can like destroy you. It can destroy your neighbors. It can, it can take away childhood from your children because they're warriors right off the bat.
Like poison their minds.
Yeah,
think of Ari, for example, from the start of the show. Like with all these foolish notions of going off to war, bringing back necklaces and shit, and then he doesn't even actually fight in an actual war, but he sees how people fight and the fact that they will not. I mean, I'll give it credit actually if I have to say anything about it. All of the fights we've seen thus far, with the possible exception of the London Bridge one, have all been, because that wasn't really won, but like they've all been won through like tactics, skullduggery, all that kind of stuff, the kind of shit that Hannibal would have been proud of.
Right.
By which I, of course, don't mean the serial killer.
No, the elephant rider, not the not Anthony Hopkins.
Some Battle of Canny shit there. But yeah, like we haven't seen any real straight on battles of such. Like mostly been ambushes. Like they've repeated a lot. Thorfinn himself, the main character, like he does not fight like sword, shield, like knightly or anything like, or even like any of the other regular guys. He's an assassin for all intents and purposes, and a scout. Yeah, and his effectiveness is not in question. We've certainly seen all the stuff he's done. So like, well, I mean, Astad would have been dead now, ironically, if it weren't for him.
I know, it's irony of ironies.
Well done, Thorfinn. Well done.
Speaking of Thorfinn, I think his role in the show will, hopefully, we will begin to see that sort of through the hard work of his father and his teachings and discipline that like finally bear fruit later in Thorfinn. We'll see like that the cycle of war culture and kind of endless war can be broken. That you can kind of rise out of it. That despite being corrupted by it and being in it, like that, war is this awful thing, but like people still are human beings and have the potential for change and potential for good. And
even just the desire for normalcy, as we see with the, like, oh, I just want, a nice drink. I want some nice food. I'd like a nice woman,
Yeah.
I mean, granted, they're all very hedonistic things, but at the same time, like, how many times have I personally gone out, like, and had just a nice cold pint after a day at work, like, just relax, cut back, not be constantly stressed out. Not the same thing by a long shot, of course, as Viking conflicts, although some spreadsheets I thought had put up a good fight, so hey, there you go. But no, yeah, like, there's a desire for normalcy inherent in some of those people.
Thorkel.xls.
Oh, XLS, Jesus.
Naming them after various Viking combatants. You should name all your spreadsheets after foes.
Oh, man. I've had many a battle with Visual Basic. I'll tell you that for free. All right, my thoughts on the show thus far. So I'm gonna address something that I've heard on the grapevine that people have complained about the show, or rather the manga in general, which is that eventually I'm already privy to certain things just because I can't ignore them. Like there's the arc, of course, in which Thorfinn will eventually, like escape and like live off the land somewhere and all that kind of stuff, and it goes much more slower paced. And people complain that the manga betrays them because of that, because it's not about the thing it was originally. Now, I'm going to make 2 points about this, and because I sometimes do play devil's advocate here. On the first hand, if you can't gather from watching the opening episodes of this show that it's very anti-war and very anti-slavery, don't watch the fucking show and watch something simpler, for God's sake. It's right there. It's right fucking there that Thor's is, he's a great warrior. He kills his way through all the bad guys with no problem. But he very much has a much more mature perspective on things. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to be defined by war. He doesn't want to be consumed by it. He wants to just live a life with his family, a life of love, like was mentioned in the end of this episode. So that's all very apparent to me right from the start. So I don't understand how people can say like the show betrays it by having an arc in which Thorfinn is not involved in warfare anymore, when it quite clearly paints warfare as being a bad thing. However, this is the devil's advocate moment.
Okay. However,
I've said before, and I think the anime exacerbates this. Can you really it's the Gundam problem. Can you really get away with having all these cool battles and characters like Thorkel in an anti-war show? Can you blame people, therefore, for being confused about shifting gears, which makes perfect sense from a story perspective, given what we've seen thus far? But like, when the show says to you, come for the Viking battles, stay for the peacetime. Can you blame people for being a little confused? Maybe you can. I don't know. It's. I don't feel like I want to speak conclusively on that. I think it's going to be your mileage made. And I do think that some people are going to be overly dismissive of the show just simply because they want to see cool Viking shit. And again, it's not like, oh, we're doing cool Viking shit and nothing else for the first half of the show's run, and then suddenly wham bam thank you ma'am, it's war is bad. War's been bad in this show from the start.
Yeah.
But how do you reconcile that against everything else we see? Because don't get me wrong, watching Thorkel do battleships, that's pretty funny. I enjoyed it. Watching off-road boating, that's pretty funny.
Pretty great.
That's pretty entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you as a writer do both simultaneously?
I think I'd like to think that you can. You just have to.
Do you reckon? Well, in that case, let's ask the hard question then: is Vinland Saga doing it?
So to continue to fully answer your last question before this, though, I think that you can, but you just have to have a very particular kind of awareness and the ability to continually kind of convey that while this is entertaining, it's bad sort of morally and stuff, and maybe it's hard to do something that makes your audience feel bad while not making them, not alienating them and saying you're terrible,
or making it miserable, because if it was just pure war is hell all the time, Thorfinn's situation where he can't beat Askeladd is currently just kind of but it could be worse. It could be to the point where he's just constantly miserable. He's constantly depressed and traumatized for everything he sees. He feels no closer to it. Maybe even gets permanently maimed by Askeladd in the fight. I mean, can you believe in the show that we've watched thus far that all the main characters, the only one who suffered a injury has been Thorkel?
I know.
And he took it he just literally caught the common cold.
Yep.
Which again also ties into what I've said, which is that, can you have these things together? Because the fact that none of them have been brutally wounded or in such violent circumstances, that seems a bit unrealistic. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe this is another thing about another way in which the show is at cross purposes with each other. The mythological nature of some of the characters with just another way of restating what you're saying, how amazing these feats that Thorkel can do, but he's doing them in this context of a show that's ultimately going to say this is all pretty self-destructive,
Hmm. So I'm going to follow up by just giving my thoughts on the show thus far. Like, simply is this, right? Everything up to and including Forz's death was mag-fucking-nificent.
Totally.
I reckon that the mangaka could have stopped the story there. Not that we ultimately might have felt happy about that, given what happens, but it was tightly executed and very profound and very bitter as well. Like, I really, really liked the whole way through for that.
The manga fans are so mad at us. They're like, no, it gets good.
No. This is the point I'm going to get to now, right? So think of that as like its own arc, which is concluded now in the show's run. Whatever arc we're currently going through right now has not concluded, which is why I'm still open to, you know, seeing it resolve itself satisfactorily, as opposed to, oh God, right, you know, they've got Canute back and that's it. Great, whatever. So let's put it this way. First 4 to 5 episodes of this show. 2 thumbs up from me. 10 out of 10. Loved it. Great. Everything else at the moment, big, massive question mark. I'm drawing my fingers on the desk a little bit. But I am willing to see it through because of the quality of that first arc.
I continue to like it, I think, until the, you know, running the boats across the fields episode. I was still pretty on board. Like, I liked...
Oh, do you mean the boat?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You were on board the boat.
I was... Oh, shit. I didn't even realize what I said. Yeah, I was still on board the boat. I had not abandoned ship. Yeah, no, like, because you had the stuff before about Thorfinn betraying that woman and her daughter to kind of scout them and all that was really intriguing. And, you know, you had him saving Askeladd's life, ironically, by killing those people on the wall, and that encounter with Thorkel. Like, I think up until that point, like, it didn't quite, even if it had slowed down slightly, it didn't quite feel like it was really in the muck until, like, I'd say the last probably 3, maybe 4 weeks.
May I pose a question to you then? Because I'm very fond of doing this because I'm a bastard. Let me propose an alternate version of this story for you, and it goes simply like this. From that episode in which Thorfinn, you know, betrays that woman, because that's pivotal in the story sense, because it shows like how far he's fallen and the lengths he'll go to, the things he'll do in order to get that Jewel of Askeladd. Do you believe that it would be possible to cut the entirety of the rest of the story out up until the point they rescue Canute? Like, you could literally go from the end of that episode to much later, Askeladd, right, we've got a new mission for you, Thorfinn. We're going to go rescue Prince Canute. He's like Prince, you know, he's the king's son. Do you reckon you could cut all of that stuff out between there and then?
Probably. Probably.
That doesn't. That's the thing, though, right? When I say that doesn't mean it's bad.
No, there's good stuff in there. Yeah, totally.
But it is absolutely what I would call filler. I don't like to say it. I don't like to say it because, as I say, a lot of the stuff that we've commented on has been great. But when you have 3 episodes that fundamentally say the same thing, have the same events, the same whatever, and are only barely pushing the plot along, like, there's no way I can't argue, like, from an editing perspective, like as in writing, that you couldn't cut this down. And if you can cut stuff away, if you can trim fat at such a length like that, I don't think it speaks well of the show.
You definitely could.
I feel bad for saying that. I really do. Because this isn't like when we covered, say, Franks, or when I covered Shield Hero, or any of those pieces of shit shows.
No, not at all.
Because they violated the other side of my criticism coin, which is what they put out there was bad. Real fucking bad. But what Vinland Saga is doing is it's just not putting out enough of the stuff I think would be good for it, which is different. None of the stuff in Vinland Saga is per se bad. And in fact, I would argue none of it's bad, but for the most part, all we're getting is just filler. So we need to pick up the pace a little bit, get things going. Or if you're not going to actually pick up pace in terms of the plot, give us more time with Thorfinn, getting inside his head. Like, have him recount to it. Like, we don't even know how many times he's dueled Askeladd at this point. We know it's happened the once on screen, but has it happened more times than that? Has, like, does he feel bad that he can't do it? How many times has he failed? Or has that, like, made him wear down? Like, he's been sanded down to nothing because he's tried so many times and now he's just going through the motions. Is it rote for him? Is it just, like, pure clockwork?
I'd love to know. I'd love to know. These are all things that you could, like, rightfully assume, but it sure would be good to know. Yeah.
Give us something. It feels like we spend more time with the random
It does.
When I think about it.
Yeah. Like, I would love more small moments with Thorfinn. We've been getting a few of them with Askeladd. We want more with Thorfinn, please.
All right. So, yeah, that's basically my wider point there, which is I think that Vinland Saga it's suffering from two things. The pacing's too slow, and I think that it is a little bit on the unstable side in terms of, like, deftly handling it's, hey, check out this awesome shit versus, oh no, this is actually war is hell.
Mm-hmm.
I think it isn't quite handling that as well as it could be. But by all means, it's not doing it badly, though, and it's certainly better than the alternative I suggested. Oh, everyone's miserable all the time. Yeah. Thorfinn's, like, got a peg leg or some shit like that. No, thank you. Don't want that.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose he would really be a pirate then if he did that. So hey, there we go.
It would work thematically still.
Mm-hmm.
So you're down to watch more?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, like I say, I have it on good authority that things will pick up.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I'm willing to accept a slow burn in favor of, like, oh shit, we just literally went off the cliff edge and things are going nuts. I'm okay with that. I really am. But
when we sat down to record, I really did. I was like,
this is why you shouldn't talk to me ever. Why do you have me on this podcast?
Well,
I'm such a miserable bastard.
it would have come out when I was talking to anyone, because as we're discussing it, I'm thinking, man, like there was some significant talk, but it's not at the level that I want the story to be operating, which is character insight, growth, stuff happening.
If you want to make a comparison to something we've covered on Stream of Thought before, that has, as I've said before, certain similarities in terms of what happens to its characters. How about Banana Fish? We got to the midpoint, and things were continuing onwards. Granted, that show had its own pacing issues, because it seems to introduce new villains every 4 episodes.
I forgot about that.
Remember Colonel Fox? Where the fuck did he come from?
That piece of garbage. He was the worst. No one, not even the diehard manga fans were like, yeah, baby, Fox is great. They stuck up for the guy from Hawaii with the hat, man, whose name I can't remember. He came in episode 15, and we're like, Blanca, why now? And they're like, no, great. He's great. He's cool and everything.
Even though he was completely complicit in Ash's, continual rape by Golzine. Nice one, Blanca, you wanker. Anyway, I've said my piece on that. Go review all 20.
Rewatch those.
Yeah. But Banana Fish felt better paced than that. There were always things happening. There were always changes in people's relationships going on. I mean, fucking Shorter's death, for example, or Shorter's own vengeance plot. The status quo was constantly evolving. Whereas, even though it probably isn't in reality that many episodes, it feels like nothing has really happened since episode 5. Yeah, we picked up a prince. Cool. Whoop-de-fuckity do.
Harsh. It's a harsh critique.
I'm a harsh guy.
But you're a harsh man. Exactly.
You know I have high impossible standards that make me insufferable. So there you go.
That's okay. Well, do we want to rate the episode, or do we want to revisit Twitter?
I've only done the one poll because honestly I couldn't think of more to go with this one. Because again, I think we'd just be asking the same questions we've always done on this one. But anyway, I will revisit the one poll, which was, how did you feel about the first time that Canute spoke? 60% said it was great, 0% said it was fine, and 40% said what a letdown.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go out and vote at Warui Deshou on Twitter.
Yeah, are you team Canute or are you team Cahoot or whatever?
What do you call it when the Danish prince hugs you?
Cahoot. I felt like a sense of clairvoyance instead of some immense pain in my immediate future, like the kind that just gives me real bad stomach cramps. I think that's possibly potentially unrelated about what you're about to say, but go on, try me.
Cahoodling.
I give this episode.
So let's rate the episode. Okay. Tell me the rating.
All right, fine. So here's the thing, right? I'm also going to just quickly mention, I think this episode felt flakier than again on the animation department. It feels like Wit Studio are really struggling in parts. Like certain walk cycles, I noticed, particularly Bjorn coming up to Askeladd. Fourth in Scowly Face, when it's him and there's like Ragnar and Askeladd in the same picture, there was something really off about it. It was like, I think it was just loss of detail relative. So again, I think the animation is kind of letting it down a little bit. But that's not really a big deal. It's not like I'm seeing strange stuff like people's hands, like, floating away from their wrists or anything stupid like that. The music, as was noted, was really nice, actually, in the scene, like, when they're marching. Like, it had that mournful, like, almost funeral dirge feel to it. Like, they were marching to the end of the world as they knew it. Their world, that is. So it's certainly keeping up that mood really well. But as I've related, extensively and probably exhaustively, I'm afraid, get on with it. You made your point.
I cannot agree with your criticisms.
Yeah. Get on with it. Like, you've made your point. You continue to make the same point over and over, which is probably something people could criticize me for, so maybe I'm being a hypocrite there. But anyway, at the end of it all, I'm going to give this episode 3 out of 5 Mountain Dew kegs.
I am going to go... I'm going to go 0.25 points higher than you, only for... Just
to keep with the mandate, yeah, which is I'm the one who always rates...
only for only for like the political intrigue, which I find genuinely interesting. The whole non-aggression pact, secret dealings to sort of lay the foundation for a future treaty.
I'm going to make you a bet, by the way. I'm going to bet General Freebutt like only appears in the next episode and none after that.
Okay. Yes. So I'm going to go 3.25 Welsh micronations out of 5 for this episode.
That's probably more micronations than the actual... Bloody hell.
Oh my god.
Okay. Anyway.
Well, Vinland Saga this week. We covered it.
We did.
We want to have more to talk about Vinland Saga. Please give us more to talk about. Don't make us come on here and do impressions for an hour.
Someone just drop a meteor on Askeladd's head or have him eaten by a bear at some point.
Totally.
So that way the plot could progress.
If any anime could use a time skip. It's just no, I only half want that. I actually want to see all the things that we've been promised happen on screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely give us more to talk about. I've got a new PC, and according to our PC, I have disk space remaining for recording 1,432 hours and 22 minutes.
Holy Lord. Let's see. I don't know where you find that on Audacity, but the very bottom. I've got 60 hours. Only 60 hours. Nothing compared to your amazing. You are
a feeble weakling child compared to the beast of a PC I've had built.
Well, I think that's probably going to do it then, folks, for this week. Thank you, as always, for tuning in, for watching, for listening, however you consume Warui Deshou. We appreciate it. We have, in addition to this stream of thought, we have a second stream that is patron exclusive for the first couple of weeks after it airs. We've just finished Given. In fact, our sort of roundtable finale series discussion of the series as a whole, we had with Anthony Gramuglia.
Do you mean Anthony Gamera? He's not on the cast anymore, so I can afford to get his name right.
Fuck, man. Gramuglia. Anthony Gramuglia is up on SoundCloud and Apple Pods and stuff now. So it's pretty spoilerific, but if you've watched the show, check it out.
Turns out AG, who am I talking about? It turns out that, I'm getting banana fish on the brain. Literally, as the drug turn, all blends together. No, it turns out Matthew is actually just a secret space alien. He's just like a tiny little one driving levers in his head.
If only you'd been watching on episode 8 when it was revealed, audience who's not watching, you would know. You could hear it right when it happened from us. We would give you the dirt. If you want that dirt, patreon.com/Warui Deshou. You can get the second stream. You can get our bonus audio or video essays. You can get Discord access, the ability to ask us questions like Blinkaji did for this episode, and much more. Just check it out. And if you do that, if you're not able to do that, either way, we love you. We appreciate your listenership. If you want to help us out for free, though, you can give us a review on Apple Pods. You can give us a follow on SoundCloud, on Twitter. You can subscribe onto YouTube, share our stuff, retweet, repost, all that good stuff. But enough with the shillin'. And
let's get to chilling.
But Shadon, actually, one more shill. If people want to talk to you about Vinland Saga or other, if they want to ask about your new sweet PC, how do they do that?
Well, if you want to do that, you can get in touch with me at Shadon1010 on Twitter. Feel free to ask me anything you like, except where I live, because this PC is mine, motherfuckers.
Very good, and I'm at the Subtle Doctor on Twitter. And we don't have, I don't know if we have any other content on the docket for this week. Maybe this will allow us to work on some of our bonus stuff.
I'll film myself stripping wallpaper, because that's what I'll be doing much of the evenings this week.
Very lovely. Please check the Twitter feed for that delightful stream.
Oh God.
So that's going to be all. And so I guess until next Vinland.
Until
next Vinland. Embrace each other, everyone, to the ends of the universe.
Good night.